Live. First of all, we're going to do the review of Shame, what with it being an 18 and all. So Shame, which is a new movie by Steve McQueen, who made Hunger, also starring Michael Fassbender. And Michael Fassbender won the Kermode Award for Best Actor the year that he did Hunger. Story here is that Michael Fassbender is living in New York. He's described very clearly as a sex addict. He is somebody who is addicted to sex, to pornography, to casual relationships. He has a job, but the job is starting to be interfered with by his addiction. And into his life comes his sister, with whom he has a strange and fraught relationship, and with who he is not entirely happy to find is actually going to be spending some time in his apartment. Carey Mulligan plays his sister. Here's a clip.
It's disgusting. That's my boss. You sleep with him after 20 minutes. Now you're calling him up. What's the matter with you? You know he's got a family, right? You know he's got a family.
No.
You didn't see the wedding ring on his finger.
No.
You're a liar.
I'm sorry.
You're always sorry.
At least I say I'm sorry.
Try doing something. Actions count, not words.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I'm trying.
Clip from Shame, a new film by Steve McQueen. It's a very, very interesting movie. I like Steve McQueen very much. He obviously, he's a visual artist who's moved into cinema, and in the past that hasn't been entirely successful. It's surprising to me just how confident he is as a filmmaker. The important thing to say, firstly, Michael Fassbender is extraordinary. Once again, we have Steve McQueen focusing very much on Michael Fassbender's body, the obliteration of the body, the torturing of the body, the flagellation of the body, perhaps in search of something resembling the soul. It is about, the thing beneath the skin. I think that Steve McQueen himself, he compared the movie to me to Last Tango in Paris, and there's a Brandon connection going on there. Actually, I think it's a very different film. I'm not a fan of Last Tango in Paris at all. I know people really revere it, but it's not a film I like very much. It is a film about addiction. It is a film about Thanatos and the death wish. There's that description, that they petit mort, the moment of sexual ecstasy, which is referred to as petit mort, little death. It is, in many ways, a film about somebody seeking le petit mort, seeking the little death, seeking the obliteration of self through sexual gratification. The movie raises a number of issues, which is to do with that kind of gratification in the internet age, depersonalised world in which it's possible for people to, have physical connections without ever having emotional connections. Certainly one of the most powerful scenes in the movie is when our anti-hero finds himself unable to perform physically because he has an emotional connection. So on one level, it is very much a portrait of alienation, a portrait of people in rooms that are very sterile, in environments which are cut off from emotional connection, and it's very powerfully done. Both Michael Fassbender and Carey Mulligan give very naked performances, and I've said this before, the nakedness is more emotional than it is physical. Some people have worried about certain sequences in it. There is a sequence, I don't want to give too much away, there is a sequence in a gay club which some people have seen as potentially politically problematic, and some people have worried about the sense of closure at the ending. My feeling about the film is it is very ambiguous and ambivalent, and I think that the things that have worried people about it are actually much more ambiguous. In order to be worried by some of those elements, you have to read them in a certain way. When I interviewed Steve McQueen, I said to him, particularly about the end, this is how the film ends. And he said, is it? And I thought, actually, maybe that isn't how it ends. Fassbender... Had he
just forgotten? Or
no. What he meant was the way in which I was reading the ending of the film was not necessarily how the film was meant to play out. I think it's a very... It's bold, it's kind of heartbreaking, it's very explicit, but in a way which is completely unerotic. It is a film about emotional hollowness, and it is about the flagellation of the body in search of something else. And I think it does establish, A, Michael Fassbender is a fantastic actress, B, Carey Mulligan is equally Michael Fassbender, a great actor, Carey Mulligan, an equally great actress, but most importantly, that Steve McQueen is somebody who has a real visual sense. He's a proper filmmaker, and this is, I think, daring and challenging. I understand why it's upset some people, but I thought it was a really powerful piece.